Hello and welcome to the SAP HANA Academy. My name is Dennis van Kempen, and in this video tutorial series we will discuss SAP HANA Express Edition. The topic of this video tutorial is how to start and stop the SAP HANA database on the VM. Okay, I will be using here VMware Fusion on the Mac and the server-only VM, but this will work exactly the same whether you're using the full version or whether you're using VirtualBox instead of VMware, or whether you're using Player, or whether you're using Windows or Mac or Linux. It doesn't matter. It will all work the same way. Now the first part is very easy. To start up HANA, you just start up the VM because SAP HANA is configured to start up automatically with the operating system, which means that once the operating system is up and running, SAP HANA will be up and running as well. Now it will take a couple of seconds to start up. So let's just first log in with our SAP HANA administration account, HXE ADM. And then, as we've seen before, with the HTTP info command, we can check the status of the processes. For those familiar with Linux and Unix, all it does is run the PS command with some flags. We'll see it listed here. We also see the SAP start process, which starts up the SAP HANA database. And then when it's up and running, we will have a name server, and this is important, and some additional processes. And here for the server only, that will be compile server, preprocessor, and web dispatcher. So how do we stop SAP HANA? Well, we could of course click here the suspend button on our VM, but that would be a really bad idea. Same as using the virtual machine shutdown commands, and then for example do a hard power off. Really bad idea. This will crash the database. You're unplugging the power source. Of course, SAP HANA is designed to recover from such events. However, this could take considerable time, and there's always the chance, albeit small, that you introduce corruptions and then you're in trouble. So what you want to do is properly shut down the SAP HANA database, and we'll do that with the HTTP stop command. And as you can see from the output, HTTP stop is a script, and it will run another utility, which is SAP control, with certain parameters to stop the database. And for those SAP basis administrators out there, yes, that's exactly the same as with any other SAP system. Eventually, our HTTP daemon will inform us that HANA is stopped, and if you would run the info command, you can see that all the processes are now down. Now at this stage, you could use the suspend button or the virtual machine shutdown command. That will be fine because that will be handled by the Linux operating system. Alternatively, you could also just use operating system commands and do a sudo shutdown now to stop the VM. So this is the proper way to shut down HANA and to shut down the VM. I'll show you some alternatives that are fine as well. In a previous video, I showed you how you can connect a terminal session to the VM. You could do this on the same laptop, but alternatively, you could also run the VM on some computer under your desk and connect to it this way. And here are the same commands, of course. Apply HTTP info to check the status, then HTTP stop to stop the SAP HANA database properly. And then you probably guessed, if you can do a stop, you can also do a start. And this is the correct way to start up the SAP HANA database if it's down. As you can see, this took 30 seconds to start up. So that's in the command line. In another video, we've showed you how you can connect SAP HANA Studio to the VM. So here I will connect as the system user, that's the database account. And then here in the right click or context menu, you can select configuration and monitoring and select stop system. This will also allow you to specify whether you want to do a soft shutdown, which is the default option, of course, which will try to first gently stop the SAP HANA database, or a hard shutdown. And for those familiar with Oracle, for example, this is the equivalent of a shutdown abort. So you just kill all transactions and shut down. I will do a soft one, obviously. It will prompt me for the username and the password of the operating system user, the SID ADM user. And that's exactly the same one as we were just connected to in our terminal session. And note that SAP HANA Studio or Eclipse will allow you to store username and password in secure storage. And this will make connecting to the database and the system a little easier, provided of course you are working in a secure environment. Here we can see the processes are stopped. The refresh interval for this Eclipse view is set at 5 seconds, so every 5 seconds we'll get an update on the status of the system. And eventually only the daemon process will be alive and it will report that everything is stopped. This also explains why we needed to provide operating system credentials, because now of course the SAP HANA database is shut down, so any database account will no longer be able to connect. You will need an operating system account, and that's the one we just provided. And if you hover over your entry, you can see that the database connection is not available. So some servers are not started. Well, that's correct. But if we right click and go again to configuration and monitoring and select start system, we can easily start up SAP HANA again. And a couple of seconds later, we're back in business. So once again, never ever use this suspend button to stop SAP HANA or use the virtual machine shut down, power off commands, as it will crash the database, and of course it should recover, but it may just not. So if you want to keep on using the VM in a sane and healthy way, just use the SAP HANA stop and start commands. Okay, so much for how to start and stop the SAP HANA database on the VM. You can find more videos on our YouTube channel, SAP HANA Academy, so please subscribe. You can join us on our LinkedIn group or follow us on Twitter. And if you like this video, give it a thumb up. Okay, thank you for watching.